Good evening, and thank you for joining us. My name is Dana Burrell. I'm the Outreach Director for the Maryland Department of Veterans Affairs, and I could not be more honored to be serving as your MC for this evening's Maryland Department of Veterans Affairs special presentation honoring Memorial Day. Before we begin, I just want to go over a few housekeeping items. Due to the overwhelmingly huge response that we received for this event, attendees will be muted and your video will be turned off. Please understand that due to attendance size, not all questions may be answered. However, we will be doing everything we can in the Q&A as well as the chat to respond to your questions. In follow-up, a recording of this webinar will be posted on our YouTube channel for viewing on demand down the road. As far as sharing, please use the Q&A to send questions to panelists. Use the chat to network if you so desire and share your program's information with the various panelists and attendees. Again, both will be monitored as best as possible. At this time, it is my distinct honor and pleasure to introduce George Owing, Secretary for the Maryland Department of Veterans Affairs, who will be providing welcoming remarks for this evening's event. Secretary?
Dana, thank you very, very much, and I apologize to our audience as well as the other participants. I'm not on the screen as I had hoped to be because of technicalities down here in deep southern Maryland. Be that as it may, as the Secretary, ladies and gentlemen, I have the distinct honor of being a part of a team that is dedicated to serving our roughly 385,000 veterans who do call Maryland home. As a veteran myself, Memorial Day resonates deeply, as it does with most of you, at least I know. And tonight we gather with family and friends this coming Memorial Day, we'd rather. Actually, it was the weekend. And let us not forget the men and the women who did pay the ultimate sacrifice in defense of our great nation. You know, to go back as far as Gettysburg, I guess the best way to put it, because some words seem trite, but they're just as meaningful today as they were then. As Lincoln said to those who gave their last full measure of devotion. Dana, I need to call out you for just a moment because tonight is a very special event, and a lot of people don't know the energy, the time, the effort, and everything you put into this, and I think you're calling it a webinar, but I think at the conclusion everybody will agree this is a first-rate production. With that said, you're going to hear, ladies and gentlemen, from our MDVA directors tonight, and administrators, as well as some of our close friends and other government agencies and leaders on how we are serving our veterans and their dependents in the state of Maryland. In 90 minutes' time, you'll be taken across the state on a trip for photo tributes to our cemetery and memorial program, as well as some other things. Many of us are familiar with the story of how Memorial Day was established, originally called, of course, Decoration Day on May the 30th, as it was designated back then, where people placed flowers on graves of those who had died in the service to their country. But on this Memorial Day weekend, I ask that you go beyond that and honor and consider what else you can do to support members of the United States Armed Services. Again, the United States Armed Services, which is my way of saying don't forget those, not only the Marylanders, but those beyond our actual borders. I want to thank you again for joining us this evening on what I know is going to be a terrific evening. And finally, take the pledge this weekend to visit at least one of our department memorials, of which there are 3, and of course, any of our 5 cemeteries. Again, I want to thank you, Dana, particularly for what you've done. And I'm going to close now by thanking everybody for joining us. And I believe, Dana, you're going to bring the governor forward now for his message. Thank you very much.
I'm Maryland Governor Larry Hogan. Now more than ever, on this Memorial Day, it is important to reflect on the American heroes who sacrificed their lives for our freedom. We've lost countless brave men and women in battle on our soil and overseas, and their memories are a blessing to each and every one of us. And on this Memorial Day weekend, we pray for all of our fallen. May God bless the great state of Maryland and the United States of America. I'm Maryland.
And thank you for those kind words, sir. And as the Secretary alluded to, this evening you're going to be hearing briefings from the Maryland Department of Veterans Affairs program directors as well as a few of our partners in state government, along with some really great videos interspersed throughout. We'll be hearing an interview with the Maryland National Guard's historian. We'll be hearing an interview with one of our Gold Star mothers in Maryland, and some other really interesting things that we have to share with you this evening. So I hope that you are able to stay with us until the conclusion of the event at 7:30. So some of you may already be aware of the Maryland Department of Veterans Affairs. I often say we're a relatively small state agency, but we might be small, but we are mighty. I'm going to start with giving you some statistics, and then we will be going into program briefings. So you might be wondering who our Maryland veterans are. I always preface briefings that I do just by kind of setting the stage so that everyone knows how many veterans we have living here in the state of Maryland. As the Secretary indicated, we have 385,000 veterans. About 55,000 of them are women. Our women veterans is our largest growing subpopulation of veterans, and we could not be more excited to see so many of them making Maryland their home. In addition to that, we have another 30,000 active duty service members, close to 20,000 reservists and National Guard. And I always think it's important to never forget those households with children, approximately 130,000 veteran households with kids in the state of Maryland. The key here is that only about 40% of our Maryland veterans are enrolled in the Veterans Health Administration. And so therefore, I beg each of you that are participating in the webinar this evening to take what you have learned this evening and share it with a friend or a neighbor or a relative who has served active duty in the military, who may not have previously engaged in VA healthcare. And I do have to preface and apologize that we are getting some pretty severe storms here. So if you hear some thunder in the background, I apologize. So our department celebrated its 20th anniversary in 2019. We were created in 1999 with a service mission to assist veterans, active duty, families and dependents in securing benefits earned through military service. Interestingly enough, the department goes all the way back to the Maryland Veterans Commission, back to 1924, when there was a fund formed to administer relief to assist veterans who had suffered disabilities during World War I. The department has approximately 110 employees. We offer 5 core programs. We have a service and benefits program, Charlotte Hall Veterans Home, a cemetery and memorial program, outreach and advocacy, which I oversee, the Maryland Veterans Trust Fund. And we're going to start this evening by hearing from the appeals chief for the services and benefits program. But please note that in the time that we have allotted this evening, there's just no way that we would be able to do as deep a dive as we would like. So please note that more detailed information on our programs can be found at our website, veterans.maryland.gov. At this time, I would like to introduce Mr. Jerry Taylor, the appeals chief for our MDVA Services and Benefits Program. Jerry?
Thank you, Dana. Good evening. I appreciate everyone joining us this evening. I'm going to do my best to keep us on schedule. My name is Jerry Taylor. I'm the appeals chief for the Service and Benefits Program, and I'm stationed in Baltimore. We have a couple slides for our program. What I'm going to do is go bullet by bullet and address each one and then provide my input in between, okay? So as we begin, veteran benefits specialists are accredited by USVA to prepare and represent service members, veterans, and survivors to USVA, U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. And the fact is, it's very important that you have representation when you go through this process. VA data shows that veterans represented by accredited organizations receive significantly greater disability benefits than veterans without representation. Our VA accredited representatives can help you understand and apply for VA benefits that you may be entitled to, including compensation, pension, education, home loan, healthcare, and burial benefits. MDVA has 12 service offices throughout the state, ensuring quality of representation to veterans, their dependents, and survivors free of charge. It's not a bad deal. It's important to note that MDVA remained available to assist veterans throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. When the shutdowns came, we were issued laptops, we were issued cell phones, and using remote access to VA systems, we were able to continue to assist veterans throughout the process, even when we were working from home. That was a pretty quick transition, and I was pretty impressed with how we did. Next, veteran specialists ensure claims that are complete prior to filing and follow the claim all the way to adjudication. Now, this is where an experienced representative is needed. We can all follow instructions and fill out claims. However, there's more to it than that. Claims should not be submitted unless they have significant documentation to support the benefit, including medical evidence. The fact is that many veterans come to us seeking assistance after unsuccessfully navigating the claim process on their own. So it's important that you take advantage of the help that's available. Once a claim and supporting evidence is submitted to VA, we assist throughout the claim development process, and then when a decision is rendered by VA, we will review the decision with the claimant and determine whether the decision was acceptable or not. MDVA also represents veterans in the appeal process when an appeal is warranted, and that's where I would come in. I do have some data as well, just for fiscal year 2020. Our service and benefit program submitted 4,170 claims to VA despite the pandemic. Those claims resulted in new awards to veterans or dependents in the amount of over $32 million. So that was a significant economic impact to our work. Service benefits offices are located statewide. Offices are being co-located with MBA service centers in Glen Burnie, Salisbury, Hagerstown, Cumberland, Gaithersburg, and Bel Air. I'd first like to note that I'd ask you to refer to our MDVA website for a complete list of our offices and contact information for the offices and the individuals stationed there. Our partnership with MBA has been very beneficial. It allows us to move locations to more visible and accessible locations for veterans. And it's important to note that with the exception of the Glen Burnie office, relocation to the remaining sites were completed during the pandemic. So that was pretty impressive. Since October 15th, 1979, Service Program is also a repository for DD-214s for Maryland veterans released from active duty. Now, all veterans should have a copy of the discharge documents. Copies of your documents are required to verify eligibility for most benefit and services specific to military veterans. Discharge documents are required for admission to Charlotte Hall, Maryland Veteran Cemeteries Program, required to file VA claims, and also a number of other services provided to veterans and their families. Now, our Baltimore Service Office maintains an archive of DD-214s for veterans who requested that a copy be sent to their State Department of Veterans Affairs at time of release from active duty, starting from that date, October 14th, 1979. If you need a copy and you don't have one and you want to see if we have one, please give us a call at our Baltimore office. The number will be posted in a subsequent screen. In addition, as I would note that veterans and next of kin can also request copies of records from the National Archives. For more information, you can visit www.archives.gov. Okay, we're on to the next screen. Examples of benefits. Okay, we're going to talk about two types of benefits payable by VA: disability compensation and pension. When we're talking about disability compensation, you think of issues that are service connected, disabilities that occurred as a result of military service. Disability compensation is a tax-free monetary benefit paid to veterans with disabilities resulting from disease or injury incurred or aggravated during active military service. Compensation may also be paid for post-service disabilities that are considered related or secondary to disabilities occurring in service, and for disabilities presumed to be related to circumstances of military service, even though they may arise after service. Okay, so I want to break that down if you don't mind. Incurred or aggravated during military service. Those are issues that should be documented in your service medical records. Okay, if you had an injury and it's became chronic, the origin of the injury should be documented in those military records. Secondary conditions. Okay, those are conditions that are secondary to current service-connected conditions. A couple examples. If I have a service-connected evaluation for my knee, and in favoring that knee, I aggravate my left knee. Okay, you can file a claim for VA for that left knee, secondary to that right knee. So even though you did not injure that knee while you were in service, okay, it's a result of that original injury, so it could be granted on a secondary basis. Another example is a veteran has a back condition, okay, and due to that back condition, they start having nerve issues, radiculopathy in your lower extremities. You can file a claim and receive compensation for that condition as secondary to your service-connected back condition. But I must note that in order for a condition to be secondary, that primary condition has to be service-connected. Presumed or related to military service. So these are issues that come about well after someone separates from the military. Presumptive issues, the most commonly known ones are the Agent Orange and Camp Lejeune presumptive conditions. And in those circumstances, if there's documentation that you were exposed to the Agent Orange or the contaminated water, and you one of those presumptive conditions manifests 50 years out after you're in the after you separate from the military, you can still file a claim to be compensated for those conditions because it's presumed that it was caused by your exposure. Another example of a condition that's related to service but wouldn't be necessarily diagnosed while on active duty would be post-traumatic stress disorder. Majority of the service members are not diagnosed with PTSD while they're in the military, but it's something that can be diagnosed many years later. As long as there's evidence of a stressor in your military record and you have a diagnosis of post-traumatic stress, you can be service-connected for a condition if it's 20, 30, or more years after you separate. Pension. Pension is a different benefit. That is more of a need-based benefit, okay, and it doesn't resolve service-connected conditions. Veterans pension is a tax-free monetary benefit payer to low-income wartime veterans. Generally, a veteran must have at least 90 days of active duty service with at least 1 day during wartime period to qualify for VA pension. In addition to that, okay, minimum service requirements, veteran must be age 65 or older, or totally and permanently disabled, or in a nursing home, receiving nursing care, or receiving Social Security disability insurance or SSI. So there needs to be a disability aspect as well, but not something that was related to the service. Now, pension claims are very complicated because of the income aspect, and you have to report your income. Very complicated. Applicants should seek assistance of an accredited representative when pursuing pension benefits. Survivor benefits, much the same. Still have the same veteran requirements, but these are survivors filed on, from a deceased veteran. Survivor's pension, need-based benefit. Okay, VA calculated income received from most sources is used to determine eligibility for the death pension. In addition, there's Veterans and survivors are eligible for pension benefits and are housebound or require aid and attendance of another person may be eligible to receive additional monetary benefits. Okay, this is increase in the benefit may be added to a monthly pension if one of the following conditions are met. Veteran requires the aid of another person in order to perform personal functions required in everyday living. The veteran is bedridden, or a veteran is a patient in a nursing home due to mental or physical incapacity. Again, these issues are very complex and you should seek assistance. Okay, next week. Okay, we just want to give you a snapshot of where we're located throughout the state. I do want to note that that Westminster office in Carroll County, that's not technically one of our offices. Carroll County has their own veterans organization. They work in conjunction with our office. They're accredited by VA through MDVA, and we work very closely with them. The other offices are all under MDVA. They are all have an accredited representative available to assist you, with the exception of Camp Springs in PG County, which have 2 representatives, and our Baltimore office, where we have 6 accredited representatives available to assist veterans. Okay, contacting our office. As I noted before with the DD-214s, there's a number that you recall if you're looking for a copy of your DD-214. Also, a number you recall if you have any questions or you're seeking assistance. As I said before, the MDVA website has all the contact information for our offices. I would follow that because it'll be updated to show when and where we're open for business. We're taking we're open for appointments only, with the exception of Camp Springs and Laurel, who still have representatives available by phone. But keep monitoring the website to see as the circumstances change. Dana, that's all I have.
Thank you very much, Jerry, for this information. And just to reiterate once again, it is always strongly advised to ensure that you have representation when you are seeking to file for VA benefits. And we have just a phenomenal team across the state to be able to make that happen. At this time, we're going to watch a video, an interview with Colonel Wade Manami, the historian for the Maryland National Guard, to learn a little bit more about their museum. Good morning. This is Dana Burrell. I am the Director of Outreach for the Maryland Department of Veterans Affairs, and I am here on site today in Baltimore at the Maryland National Guard's 5th Regiment Armory. I have the distinct honor and privilege of interviewing Colonel Manami, the National Guard's historian, at the Maryland Museum of Military History to learn about the history of the National Guard and their experience and role that they have played historically throughout the years, but most specifically today in reference to World War II and their participation in D-Day. Thank you and enjoy.
So the museum dates back to 1983 when it was the Maryland National Guard Museum. Since then, we've grown and expanded, and our mandate actually now includes all branches of the service and military activities in the state of Maryland. When the 29th Infantry Division was mobilized in 1941, it was drawn from National Guardsmen in Maryland and the surrounding states. These were people who were truck drivers, they were milkmen, they were carpenters, lawyers, all walks of life. And they went on to fight through Europe in major engagements, the D-Day landings of 1944, all the way to the Elbe River at the end of the war. And what they accomplished in Europe that in those few years echoes through history today. I'm sitting right here next to Vixen Tour, which is the Jeep used by General Gerhardt, the commander of the 29th Division, on D-Day. This is possibly the only known surviving documented vehicle to have been on the beaches of Normandy on that day. It was named after a mountain in England where the division trained. So we have things like that. If you look around the room, there are artifacts relating to the service of individual soldiers who fought during the war, the places they served, like Ulick, Bremen, all the way from D-Day, St. Lo to the Elbe River. So I think this is probably my favorite exhibit in this room. What you see here are the things that Captain Robert Miller carried with him from the day he landed on Omaha Beach until he was wounded and evacuated from St. Lo about a month later. You see his ID card. You see the medical bandage case that he used to pack his cigarettes in. You see the compass and map he had sewn into the liner of his jacket in case he was captured and had to escape. This just is so personal to me to have an exhibit like this that actually shows you what these people had in their pockets during these momentous events. Well, I think one of my favorite exhibits is the Civil War exhibit. We've got original artifacts from the Civil War, a Union frock coat, photographs of the Eastern Shore Infantry, all sorts of things that you just aren't going to find in most museums. Our 1812 exhibit is just so special. It covers all aspects of the War of 1812 here in Maryland, from Fort McHenry to the Battle of the North Point, and it's well worth a visit. And of course, if you're interested in what's going on today, we also have an exhibit that covers the global war on terrorism. So the service of our men and women in Iraq, Afghanistan, and elsewhere around the world. There's just a lot to see here. Although access to the museum is currently restricted because of the pandemic, I'd encourage people to continue to check our website and to call if you would like to see about scheduling an appointment or visiting. Anyone who has any interest in the Maryland National Guard is more than welcome to contact our Historical Research Office. We have archival materials relating to its service in World War II all the way up to the modern day. And just make an appointment and our historian will be glad to work with you. It's important to remember that museums like this aren't about the stuff. It's about the people, what they did for our country, for the world, and remembering that and honoring that. So I encourage people to come here, learn about the people that came before, learn about their family members, learn about their relatives, their neighbors, and what they've done for this country over the past 300 years plus.
So hopefully, as things start to open back up, if you have an interest in visiting the Maryland Museum or of Military History, that you'll be able to pay a visit to the 5th Regiment Armory. It really is a sight to see. At this time, I would like to introduce Ms. Sharon Murphy, Director of the Charlotte Hall Veterans Home. Sharon?
Hi, good evening, and thank you, Dana, and thank you, Mr. Secretary. It's my pleasure to talk a little bit about Charlotte Hall Veterans Home. We opened in 1985, and for 36 years, we've been serving Maryland's veterans. It's my pleasure. I've been there 37 years almost. Charlotte Hall is different than most nursing homes, and how would that be? Well, we serve veterans and their spouses, and you apply for admission. You need your VP-14, honorable discharge, Maryland veteran. And of course, if we need to match the services we provide, then we'd love to admit you.
Sharon?
Yes.
Sharon, I'm not sure if you can possibly move a little bit. You almost sound like you're underwater.
Oh,
We're having trouble hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's wonderful. Thank
Is it
you.
better? Okay, I apologize. As I was saying, we opened in 1985. We're in St. Mary's County in Charlotte Hall, and we're the sometimes the unknown jewel in Maryland. A lot of times when I get visitors, first-time visitors, they often say, and most likely say, I didn't know you were here, and I had no idea you were that large. We have a total of 454 beds, 286 skilled nursing or long-term care, and 168 assisted living. We serve veterans and their spouses, and you can apply for admission through our admissions office. How are we different than most nursing homes? We are a partner with the United States Department of Veterans Affairs. Our population is 90% male and 10% female, although that's changing with more females entering the military service. Most nursing homes are mostly female, so that's another way that we're different. Also, as a benefit to the veterans, they receive a daily per diem from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs that helps towards their cost of care. So your benefit as a veteran, if you needed long-term or skilled nursing care, is $115 per day from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. If you need assisted living care, your benefit is around $50 a day towards your cost of care. And if you're a VP1, 70% service-connected veteran, you are entitled to the full cost of care in long-term. So that's a pretty nice benefit from the Department of Veterans Affairs. Charlotte Hall was built through a program with the United States Department of Veterans Affairs, the State Home Construction Program. And we are one of 155 state veterans homes located across these United States, Puerto Rico, and Hawaii. Pre-COVID, our average census, daily census, was around 400 veterans or spouses. Since COVID, our occupancy is 75%. And as you can imagine, COVID affected us greatly, our staff and our residents. I'll get into that a little more later. I'd like to tell you about our on-site services. We have attending physicians, nurse practitioners, we have dental, optometry, podiatry, nephrology, also physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy. And as of 2016, we have an on-site pharmacy and our own pharmacist. So that's a great benefit to our residents as well. We have an on-site barber and beauty shop, a massage and pain management therapist, and we have a robust volunteer program. Unfortunately, it's not up and active, but prior to COVID, in the calendar year 2019, we had over 22,000 volunteer hours accredited to Charlotte Hall. Our home offers private and semi-private rooms. We have 2 memory care units that care for those with dementia and Alzheimer's. As far as COVID affected Charlotte Hall, our admissions closed in March of 2020, and we were not able to reopen until the health department granted that in August. So that was 7 months of no admissions. And over that time period, as you know, across the country, families were not able to visit nursing homes. We were basically on a lockdown throughout the pandemic. Things are opening now, but during that time, we provided over 3,000 video visits with families and window visits when they were able to come in person. Our staff had to readjust how we care for our veterans, and it was a difficult time, but we're coming out of it. And I'm happy to say the community supported us as well. During that time, we had deliveries of pizza, chicken, all kinds of snacks for our veterans. Our vending machines closed down because of infection control issues. So there was lots and lots of things we didn't know we needed, but the community showed up and supported us during the entire pandemic, and we can't thank them enough. Staff worked many long hours taking care of our veterans. We also had support from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs with staffing, from the health department, from the National Guard. So we were very, very lucky, and with Secretary Owens' support and connections, we made it through COVID. So I'm very proud to say we're opening up slowly. Some of the veterans that we have, among them are distinguished medal recipients, such as Legion of Merit. We have 5 Bronze Stars and 3 Purple Heart residents living with us today. I have some statistics for you as well. 82% of our veteran population served during a war. 45% of our veteran population served in the Army.
And as I said, 90% of our population is male and 10% is female. Let's see. As I mentioned, the cost of care is subsidized by the Department of Veterans Affairs, and that program also has funding for additional state veterans homes. And we are looking at a site in Baltimore, near Baltimore, to hopefully establish our second veterans home. And we're looking forward to that. Dana, that's it from Charlotte Hall.
Thank you so much, Sharon. Charlotte Hall is such a special place. It makes my day when I have the opportunity to visit. So thank you very much.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to serve the veterans of Maryland. Thank you.
So moving on to our cemetery and memorial program, I would like to introduce Mr. Russell Ware, the director of the program. Russ?
Let's see if we can get my video back working. There we go. Thank you, Dana. I am Russ Ware, the Director of Cemeteries and Memorials for the Department of Veterans Affairs. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about our programs here. The Department of Veterans Affairs Cemetery Program provides a final resting place for those eligible veterans and their eligible family members who desire this benefit provided by the state of Maryland. Since the program's inception in 1976, we've buried over 113,000 individuals interred at our 5 veteran cemeteries. This requires the Maryland Department of Veterans Affairs to not only conduct burial services, but also perpetual care on the ever-increasing amount of graves within the system. As the cemeteries age, so does the infrastructure, and as all 5 cemeteries are between 36 and 45 years old, the Maryland Department of Veterans Affairs are working to constantly enhance the cemeteries to ensure that these facilities remain a dignified and appropriate resting place for our veterans. Each cemetery is staffed with a superintendent, administration staff, grounds maintenance supervisor, and grounds maintenance support staff to include heavy equipment operators. The exact staff numbers vary between cemeteries due to the acreage in each cemetery. Since the pandemic had started, we had been living through a very fluid system on how we can better serve the community. We are now, I can proudly say that we are back to normal operations with just a few minor exceptions that we are able to conduct any burial as they were prior to the pandemic. I'm very happy that our systems are working to capacity and we're able to provide that services to our community veterans and their families. Who is eligible to be buried at a VA National Cemetery or a state veteran cemetery? Well, that'd be veterans, service members, spouses, and dependents may be eligible for the burial in a VA National Cemetery or a state cemetery, as well as other benefits, but one of these items must be met. The person qualifying for the burial benefit is a veteran who did not receive a dishonorable discharge, or a service member who died while on active duty for training, or inactive duty for training, or the spouse or minor child of a veteran, even if the veteran died first, or in some cases, the unmarried adult dependent child of a veteran. Veterans are buried at no cost to the family. A qualified dependent has a burial fee that will equal the burial plot allowance provided by the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, which is currently $807. This price changes through the year at each fiscal year. If you received an other than honorable, bad conduct, or dishonorable discharge, you may not be eligible for VA benefits, but there are 2 ways you can try to qualify. One is to apply for a discharge upgrade, or try for a VA character of discharge review process. These 2 systems can be found at the VA benefits or va.gov website under benefits. We also have a pre-application on our website at our MDVA website that you can apply for if you wish to, I wouldn't say reserve your spot, I'd say have that situation taken care of ahead of time. Now, what we do is we take in and evaluate the application, and then you'll receive a letter stating that you have been pre-qualified for interment, but you're still subject to eligibility requirements based on the standards set by the Department of Veterans Affairs. We also do not give out any other personal information as we are not a information collection location. We are just a system that provides required documentation for our services. The only personnel that can retrieve this information back is the veteran or the spouse themselves. Some of the highlights that we have in our cemeteries that have been going on recently is the Cheltenham Veteran Cemetery is currently expanding burial sites and infrastructure with the first consecutive grant, meaning a grant was extended and then a second grant was extended after it. It started in April of 2020 and will complete with a second grant by March of 2022. Its estimated capacity expansion is 14,172 new graves, new roads, new administration building, maintenance building, and a new fuel pump. The Crownville Veteran Cemetery was last expanded in 2017, which increased the capacity by 6,300 graves. The Eastern Shore Veteran Cemetery was last expanded in 2019, which increased the capacity 2,452 graves. Garrison Forest was last expanded in 2020, which increased its capacity by 6,700 graves. And Rocky Gap was expanded also in 2020, which increased the capacity by 1,422 graves. As of April 30th, 2021, Rocky Gap, which was opened in 1981, has interred 5,321 additional grave sites. Garrison Forest, opened in 1983 of November, interred 44,138. Eastern Shore, since 1976, has interred 7,984. Crownsville has, excuse me, which was opened in July of 1987, interred 26,012. And finally, Cheltenham, which was opened in 1978 in July, has interred 29,428. Let me talk a little bit about the Memorials Program. It's the Veterans Memorials Program. Its primary purpose is to assure quality maintenance of the 4 geographically separated memorials, honoring Maryland veterans and Gold Star families. The memorials are for those who served in the U.S. Armed Forces during World War II, the Korean conflict, the Vietnam era, and a monument dedicated to the Gold Star families of Maryland. The Memorials Program has 3 personnel assigned. A superintendent and 2 grounds maintenance workers provide the constant upkeep of the grounds along with supporting veteran-focused events and ceremonies throughout the year. This concludes my briefing, and we will see a nice slideshow of all the veteran cemeteries and the memorials. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Russ. I mentioned previously, I serve as the director for the outreach and advocacy program for the department. And, the secretary mentioned earlier in his remarks that the time that it takes to pull together an event such as the one that we're all participating in this evening. But when I see the culmination of the work and I learn and hear from my colleagues all of the great things going on in their program, it really reminds me of my mission of the outreach and advocacy program, which is to ensure that we are being creative and we are finding innovative ways to reach our service members, veterans, and families, and to educate them creatively on the various VA benefits, resources, and programs to which they're entitled. Over the years, between myself and my amazing Deputy Director, Denise Noe, we have forged ahead. We've expanded our mediums that we're using to provide education to veterans, to service members, to family members, as also, and in addition to that, to the agencies that are serving them, whether it's federal, state, and local government, or community-based or private sector organizations. We diligently work to try to meet veterans and family members where they are. And I'm very proud to report that despite COVID last year, in fiscal year 20, we had over 1.3 million contacts between the two of us, whether it was digital or virtually in the space that we're in this evening. So I'm very, very humbled and very honored to lead this program. We are responsible for pretty much everything communications, whether it's the website, media engagement, providing briefings, staffing resource tables. We also oversee a number of different programs where we have brought together liaisons across all of state government to train them up, spin them up on veteran-related services and benefits so that they can serve as a hub for veterans who are state employees, as well as for constituents who have served that may contact their particular agency. We also have a fund that provides reimbursement to service animal programs, specifically programs that train service dogs, as well as equine therapy programs that are providing equine therapy to veterans in the communities across the state. Between Denise and I, we actively participate on a number of different governor's commissions as well as collaborations, whether it's spanning suicide prevention, behavioral health, student veterans, homelessness, the Governor's Workforce Investment Board. As you can see, our participation across the state is particularly diverse, but it allows us to really immerse ourselves and to be a voice for the veteran community, regardless of what organization we might be a part of. So Mr. Mark Hendricks is our trust fund administrator. He is actually on leave today, so I'm filling in for him. The Maryland Veterans Trust Fund was established and is now currently a 501c3, whereby 100% of donations that are provided to the trust fund are returned back to veterans who are experiencing temporary financial difficulties. We have just this year alone, this fiscal year, been able to provide well over $100,000 in grants to veterans who are in need. Essentially, the way that the trust fund works is that assistance is a one-time only grant. It's not designated to address individuals that might be experiencing chronic financial difficulties or emergency situations, because there is an application process and there is a committee that reviews those applications to ensure that we are able to assist in a way that is going to bring that veteran back onto their feet. For more information and contact information for the Maryland Veterans Trust Fund, you can visit the homepage of our website, veterans.maryland.gov. And to the left, under MDVA programs, you can read more information about the Maryland Veterans Trust and criteria to be eligible to apply. I also wanted to share with you some information related to some additional state benefits that veterans are entitled to. The first one being military retirement pay and the income tax deduction that's associated with that. If a veteran or a spouse of a military retiree receives a retirement income, they are able to subtract up to $5,000 with an increase to the first $15,000 for individuals once they reach the age of 55 years old. There is also a state property tax exemption for veterans who have a permanent or total service connected disability. If they are rated at 100% by the Veterans Administration, they may receive a total and complete exemption from their real property taxes. In addition, a couple of years ago, Governor Hogan announced that veterans would no longer have to pay to visit our state parks. We also allow, through the Motor Vehicle Administration, a veterans designation on the Maryland driver's license. Maryland residents can now have that veteran designated on the front of their driver's license, and it is a very simple process. It can be added to the driver's license or state ID at no cost by simply bringing to Motor Vehicle Administration branch either a DD 214, an honorable discharge certificate, or a letter from St. Louis's Military Records Personnel Center verifying veteran status. In addition, a couple of years ago, Governor Hogan also passed an order that allowed for disabled veterans to receive lifetime registration on their plates. The cards and license plate stickers for those who qualify are issued permanent cards and stickers. And again, this allows for veterans who qualify to skip the trip to the MVA to renew their registration. And I have a little asterisk here next to state property tax exemption. There was legislation that was passed a couple of years ago allowing local jurisdictions to enact their own local ordinances to allow for tax exemptions that for veterans who are rated at less than 100%. And we have information on the counties who are providing that benefit on our website as well. So at this time, it is my pleasure to bring to the virtual floor Mr. Leroy Thomas. He is the Veteran Program Manager for the Maryland Department of Labor. Leroy and I go way back, and it is always a real pleasure to be able to collaborate on events such as this. So Leroy, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Dana. My name is Leroy Thomas, as Dana has so well spoken. I'm the Veterans Program Manager for Maryland's Department of Labor. Next slide, please. Next, today, I'd just like to give you a brief overview of our program, which talks about our purpose, our mission, our program hierarchy, disabled veterans outreach program specialists, the local veteran employment representative, and how we operate. Also, I'd like to let you know about our ultimate goal, and if you have any questions, we'd be so happy to answer anything that you have. So we have in Maryland, we have 30 job centers located throughout Maryland, and we have veteran staff in every one of them. And all the centers were established under the Workforce Investment Act, which was reauthorized to Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Acts of 2014, excuse me. The centers offer training referrals, career counseling, job listings, or similar employment-related services. And we're here to assist anyone that's seeking employment. And you want to say, why do you have youth, adults, and seniors? Because that's what we service in our workforce centers. But we have programs that also we can service anyone in that veteran's family, supply them with the assistance they need to get gainful employment, education, or certifications and licenses. Now, our mission is to support transitioning veterans, service members, veterans and their families by providing resources to assist, prepare them to obtain meaningful careers, and maximize their employment opportunities, to further advocate employment, training, education opportunities with businesses by promoting the advantages of hiring veterans. So in other words, we work not only with the veterans as well directly, we also have a part of our staff that works directly with the businesses to show them the advantage of hiring our veterans. And our vision statement is create and maintain an elite, informed team of professionals who are committed and equipped with the knowledge, skills, and abilities to assist veterans and their families by connecting businesses, creating a positive employment network for our veteran population. So our whole team, we have them certified in resume writing, and professional global career developers, and also federal resumes as well. Our core values is to maintain what we call an elite structure: excellence, loyalty, integrity, teamwork, and empowerment. Because this is how the same type of service that we want to give out to the people that we serve, we want to make sure our staff is well equipped to do so. In our hierarchy, we have a program manager, a regional manager, leader, DevOps, and DevOps workforce consultant. And so you say, what are these? And so I will happily go through them in a few seconds here. Next slide. We're not going to go through the names of everybody on this staff, so don't worry. What it is I'm letting you know that we have a complete staff that service all across every county in the state of Maryland. And what we do is we make sure that you're going to get professional training from each member of our staff. So we have enough people to service. We have right now on staff 38 people. And right now, as of yesterday, we have now 40. We had hired 2 more. So who actually works with the veterans is the Disabled Veteran Outreach Program Specialist. Now in our centers, what are the purpose of these? Because we work with those veterans that have significant barriers to employment. That means you're a veteran that's disabled, returning citizen, age 18, 24, 24 weeks unemployed, anything that has kept a barrier for getting a veteran employed. Our staff does casework and manage to make sure that we can get that veteran everything that they need. Because we conduct comprehensive specialized assessments to understand specific veterans or spouses' interests, preferences, support needs, skill sets, abilities to achieve their employment goals. Because if you come into us and you need, you have a disability and you need some extra equipment, we get you connected to the right resources to make that happen. And if you need a license or certifications or education, we work with you on that as well. And we coordinate with specific veteran spouses to develop individual tailored employment plans, because it just helps you have a direction when you're going from point A to point B, unemployment to hopefully fully gainfully employed. And we also conduct job searches, job referrals, and placement activities for specific veterans and their family and their spouses. Who work with the businesses is we have the local veterans employment representatives on our staff. And these service members, and every one of my staff, I must say, every staff member is a veteran, disabled veteran. So all those people you saw are disabled veterans. So we work with other service providers to promote the advantage of hiring veterans to employers and employer groups. They market job-seeking veterans as individuals who have highly marketable skills and experience. Leaver staff serve as an advocate for veterans with businesses, industry, and other community-based organizations by participating in a variety of outreach activities, such as planning and participation in job and career fairs, coordinating with unions, apprenticeship programs, business organizations to promote veteran employment, and training programs for veterans. Informing federal contractors of their responsibility to recruit qualified veterans. Many of them didn't know that. We also promote credentialing and licensing opportunities for our veterans. And how do we operate? We consist of services and partners from local, state, and federal agencies to perform our mission to include, but not limited to, job clubs and career fairs. And that's why I like to say, instead of just a job club, we have a job club. We help the individual find out more about business opportunities or how they can get gainful employment. So a lot of times we have the employers come in, tell them what they're seeking so they'll be more informed. We have also veteran service organizations, the VSOs, such as the HRV program to help the homeless veterans. We connect veterans with any other service organization that can help them in any way possible. We also get them connected. We also connect with colleges and universities and with their veteran programs. And we help establish veteran programs within those colleges and universities as well. We have a lot of community partners. Oh my goodness. And that is so great when you have partners throughout the state actually working together to make sure that they give our service members who are willing to sacrifice their lives a good opportunity for the future. And we also have many government entities, federal, state, and local, that we work together to make sure that we get these veterans gainfully employed. And our ultimate goal is to meet the needs and goals of veterans, eligible spouses, and employers, to promote individualized career services for veterans, job development for veterans, particularly those determined to be job ready after receipt of individualized career services from a DevOps specialist, provide the full range of employment and training services available to veterans, transitioning service members, and other eligible persons. We conduct employment outreach activities that create veteran-friendly business partners that are willing to support job development and the referral of veterans to their appropriate job openings. So anytime that you know someone that's looking for employment, and just make sure, or business that want to hire a veteran, have them contact myself at this information that you see before you. This is my phone number, cell phone, and the email address, and we'll get you connected immediately to a very professional staff that's willing to give you service at all times. So thank you very much, and I salute you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Leroy. At this time, it is, again, my honor to introduce Ms. Joy Ashcraft, Director for Maryland's Commitment to Veterans. Joy?
Thank you, Dana. I am so happy that you invited me to be part of this today. As Dana had mentioned earlier, she is co-lead with me on the Maryland Governor's Challenge to Prevent Suicide among service members and veterans and their families. And I'm just excited to be able to work with such a dynamic partner. This woman works 1 million hours a day. I know many of you can attest to her hard work and efforts, so totally appreciate you. I am the Director of Maryland's Commitment to Veterans. Next slide, please. And we are a program within the Maryland Department of Health. We work closely with both the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, Maryland Department of Veterans Affairs, Department of Health, Department of Labor and Licensing, Higher Education Commission, and many other state and federal agencies, along with local nonprofits, community organizations, councils, collaboratives, and commissions. We assist service members, veterans, and their families with coordination of behavioral health services. So that includes both mental health and substance use services. So for those individuals who want assistance but don't know where to go, we help connect them with available resources in their community, whether it be through VA or state services or nonprofits and community programs. We also assist with referring for wraparound services, and those include things like education, housing, assistance with benefits. If they come to us first, we do a warm handoff with a Maryland VA benefit specialist, with other behavioral health services, employment. So our regional resource coordinators are well versed in what services are in their area and what services within the state serve across the state. We conduct outreach and training directly to our service members, veterans, and family members, providers, including today we had our statewide behavioral health and suicide prevention conference. We work with community groups to talk about our programs, suicide prevention, peer support. We provide training in conjunction with federal VA for crisis intervention teams through the police department and many other programs. So we do a considerable amount of outreach and training. Next slide, please. So eligibility. You'll notice a slight difference in what makes you eligible for our services as opposed to some others. One is, of course, you have to reside in Maryland. You have to have served or are currently serving in the armed forces, active duty guard or reserve, or be a family member of someone who served or is currently serving. And we support regardless of discharge status. So that's huge. So regardless if you are honorably, other than honorably, dishonorably discharged, we will help connect you with resources that you are eligible for. Next slide, please. So our team, Again, we're small but mighty. We're a 5-person team. I'm the director. David Galloway serves our Western region and also is lead for putting together our conferences, training events, and crisis intervention team trainings. Dina Karf, our Eastern Shore representative, works primarily in our intensive case management crisis funding, which we offer, and developed our Operation Roll Call program, which I'll talk to you about in a little bit. Angel Powell just took over as the Central Regional Coordinator. She is also our social media guru. And Rick Reed, who's been around a long time, is now back in Southern Maryland, serving Prince George's County, Calvert, Charles, and St. Mary's. And he's also our data analyst lead. Next slide, please. So what do we offer? So we offer referral assistance. So we have a 24/7 hotline when an individual can call for unlimited number of resources. So it's not like you just call for one thing. You could have 5 different things going on, and we try to connect you with resources or supports in all 5 of those areas, or 10, or however many it is. Our service members, veterans, and families can connect with us through our hotline, email, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And again, like I mentioned, we have regional resource coordinators. We have 1 per region. And part of that, what they build in that region is a personal relationship, both with the providers in the region, as well as our service members and veterans, because every time a service member, veteran, or family member call, we try to connect them directly with that regional resource coordinator, so they're talking to the same person each time, because we want people to feel heard, understood, and connected. Next slide, please. What we provide. So again, connection with mental health and substance use services. Like I said before, it's not just connecting with VA, although we work hand in hand with VA and assist people in that area, but some of our service members, veterans, and families either are not VA eligible or have feelings about the VA. So we also work with community providers in order to connect them with services as well. We do some case management and referral services, our one-time crisis funding. So we work a lot with the Veterans Trust Fund, but on our end, we're able to provide the immediate needs. So, if we have someone who's getting ready to be evicted or their lights are going off, hopefully they call us before the day of, but when they call, we're able to process an application really quick and get the funding sent to those businesses, organizations, to keep those lights on, to keep them from being evicted. And we work with other both area, state, and federal resources to try to find additional funding to help get people back on their feet. COVID has been a real struggle for everyone, but for some, financially, it has been a crushing time. And so being able to assist with this crisis funding has been instrumental for some, to keep them, 1, from being evicted, and 2, we've noticed some of them, their mental health and their has been really strained by all of this, and having a financial crisis on top of it makes the struggle even greater. So being able to provide that, we're really excited to be able to do that. And again, training and education in many ways, and peer support. And peer support can be things like, we have 2 individuals on our staff, Rick Reed and David Galloway, who are both combat veterans. So if someone wants to talk directly with them, regardless of what region they're in, they're they're open to do that. But we also have a program called Operation Roll Call, which Dina is the mastermind behind. And what this is a service where a service member or veteran can contact us and sign up to get once a week or once every 2 weeks call check-in. These calls might be as short as 2 minutes. They could be an hour long. It depends on the service member veteran need. We've been able to really bond, our regional resource coordinators really bond with the individuals that are part of the program and support them and hear their stories and help reduce their feelings of isolation during these times of COVID. Next slide, please. So additional program highlights, like I mentioned before, Maryland Governor's Challenge. Really excited to be on that team. We also have played a part in bringing the STAR Behavioral Health Provider Program to our state. We've been working alongside Maryland National Guard, Military Family Research Institute at Purdue, and the Center for Deployment Psychology to bring military culture and treatment training to civilian practitioners at no or low cost, so that we're able to assist in expanding access, culturally competent access to mental health and substance use services across our state. So we're really excited that that program has come to our state, and we hope that it continues to expand. Another program I don't have listed on here that we are working in conjunction with several different agencies is to build, starting the process of building a coordinated care system for our SMVF and who have intimate partner violence issues across the state, and helping connect to resources as well. So really excited about these expansion of services that we've had this year. And next slide. And so here's some more ways to connect with us if you want to learn more about who we are, what we do, upcoming events. We have another training event coming up next month where we're going to be doing a live screening of the Camouflage Closet and a panel discussion. So hope you were able to join us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joy. And I cannot speak more highly of the advancements that Maryland's commitment to veterans has made. I actually started in the veteran space in 2012 as the Central Regional Resource Coordinator for Maryland's commitment to veterans, and just to see how the program has grown over the years, and just to see how it has expanded under Joy's leadership. I just cannot speak more highly of what she is bringing to the Behavioral Health Administration, to Maryland's commitment to veterans, but most importantly to our service members, veterans, and their families. So thank you. In just a moment, we are going to watch our final interview with Miss Janice Chance, Gold Star Mother. But before doing so, I wanted to ensure that everyone had our contact information again. You can get more information well beyond what we've covered this evening at our website, veterans.maryland.gov. We also have a contact us email address, as well as a main number that you can call if you have additional questions. I encourage every one of you, when you log off of Zoom this evening, to go to the homepage of our website, and if you haven't already done so, to please sign up for our newsletter. We have approximately 165,000 email subscribers who receive on a bi-weekly basis an absolutely exceptional, comprehensive listing of what is going on in the veteran space across the state. And I owe all of that to my Deputy Director, Denise. You can also follow us on Facebook, on Twitter. And again, a recording of this evening's event will be posted for on-demand viewing at our YouTube page. So without further ado, we are going to watch a video, and please stay beyond the video because it will have a listing. The second to the last slide will have a listing of our live Memorial Day observances, and we will be playing taps. So please stay with us until the conclusion of this evening's event. Thank you so much.
proud mother of Captain Jesse Melton, III, United States Marine Corps. He was my eldest child and my oldest son. We had two sons. Jesse was encouraged to join the military by his father, who was a Vietnam veteran. And he was also inspired by his grandfather, who was a World War II Navy veteran. He served on the USS O'Brien during the Pearl Harbor conflict. And so it's amazing that we're doing this interview here at this historic location. It means so very much to me. So we have the Gold Star Mothers Memorial, but then behind me is the World War II. And Jesse has been serving in different locations throughout the United States, Okinawa, went all over the place, deployed here and abroad. And he did a tour in Iraq, and his final tour, sadly, was in Afghanistan. He said, I'm not afraid. He said, I don't want to die, but if I do, it's a win-win situation. I'll go to be with Jesus early. He said, so I can't lose. And so he said, I want to go and make that difference, as I said. And so he went to Afghanistan, and I remember getting a call from him a couple months prior to him being killed. And he said, Mom, I want you to know that I'm willing and ready to take a bullet for one of my Marines. And I said, Jesse, please, don't try to be a hero. He said, Mom, I'm a Marine. I just want you to know that. And so, and then fast forward a couple months later, he calls, and I missed a call, and he said, Mom, this is Jesse. I want to let you know that things are getting hot over here. He said, so just continue to pray. Pray that I make it to my 30th birthday. So, sadly, after serving 11 years in the Marine Corps, on September the 9th, 2008, I received the news that no mother ever wants to hear. I know the day before my son's demise, I got this terrible sick feeling that something was wrong. I could contact everybody but my son. I was able to contact my daughter, who was serving in the United States Army. She was a captain in the United States Army. She was inspired, as a matter of fact, by her brother to join the military because she saw the difference in Jesse. And so when I called and got a hold of her, she said, Mom, what's going on? She could tell something was wrong. But when those Marines came to my door that day, my son had told me before they came, he said, Mom, 2 Marines and a Navy chaplain has been down home. And I said, you know what that means, Joshua? I said, Jesse's been either wounded or killed, because I remember that dream. So I had a chance to call my pastor, my husband, tell him that something happened to Jesse. I called my sister, said, please go to Mom's. Something happened to Jesse. I said, be there, because we're going to need to comfort her. So when they came into my home, and I sat down, and I said, wait a minute, before you tell me, please tell me that my son's only been wounded and not killed. He said, ma'am, I'm sorry to have to tell you that your son was killed along with First Lieutenant Madrazo and Navy Corpsman Eichmann Strickland and an Afghan interpreter. They were all in the vehicle on their way back from doing a mission. He said they were thrown out of the Humvee, and he was killed. I will never forget what my son told me before he deployed to Afghanistan. He said, Mom, I want the Marines on my team to follow me out of admiration, not obligation. There is a difference. He said, you have to make sure that you tell the men and women on your team that they are valued and respected. And then not just tell them, but to show them, demonstrate. Jesse was a servant leader. He led by serving. And if you want to really people to follow you, you got to show them that you're willing to get down where they are, to bring them up. You're not looking down, but you got 2 hands and you pull them up with you. So he was committed. He loved the service members. He did everything he could to make sure that he would pour into their lives, and he mentored them because he saw what they could become, not what they were now. Not just like God sees us, he knows what we're going to become, and he just continues to work on us. And Jesse did that. He sacrificed for his team, and I'm so very proud of him for that. We honor our heroes by serving, not sitting. And so that's what I do. Every day I try to do that in some way to serve them, so Jesse's legacy will continue to live on.